A Child's Christmas in Yorkshire. Buried treasure. I never meant to go looking for aught. Honest. I was being good. I was just in me mum and dad's bedroom, doing nowt, near the wardrobe. You see, I still believe in Father Christmas, but I knew he didn't bring all the presents on Christmas Eve. I'd seen a few of 'em coming through the back door with neighbours and me aunts and uncles. They smuggled 'em in for him. I knew. Me mum thought I hadn't noticed, but I had. I sometimes think she thinks I'm daft. Sometimes. But I aren't. Some of our presents came ages before Christmas, but most of 'em came just a few days before. Folks would come in with a big shopping bag and sit down in kitchen. Mam would make 'em a cup of tea if it was a woman, or pour 'em a drop of lamb's navy rum if it was a man. Then she'd send me off somewhere to do summat, like fetch some onions from washhouse. When I got back, the shopping bag would be empty, and they'd suddenly start talking about price of liver. I'm not that stupid. So, somewhere in our house, right this minute, was a load of presents, all wrapped and ready, hidden, waiting for Christmas Day. Well, I couldn't wait. I mean, it was ages yet. 2 days. So anyway, I'd been all through cupboard under stairs and found nowt but usual rubbish. There was nothing in the airing cupboard but vests, underpants and socks, and the big bin at back at pantry just had some taters in it with long white roots growing out of 'em. Well, it would be daft to hide Christmas presents in our bedroom, so that only left Mam and Dad's bedroom. Aye, well, here I was then, just having a quick look. No harm in that. I found some fluff and a green sock under their bed, and the jerry, of course, and all the chest of drawers was full of Mam's clothes, nowt under the dressing table, and I did find a Marks and Spencer's bag behind curtains, but there was just a nightie in it, new. It must be going back. The wardrobe was the last place to look. I wasn't supposed to go in there. I wasn't supposed to even be in Mam and Dad's bedroom, unless I was bringing Dad a cup of tea or summat, and he wasn't home yet. Mam was in the kitchen getting the tea ready, so she'd be down there for a bit. No idea where our Jimmy was. I went over to the wardrobe and stood on that blooming squeaky floorboard. I stopped and listened to see if Mam had heard. She hadn't, so I reached for the wardrobe door and turned the little handle. There was a loud click. I bet she heard that, and I waited, holding me breath. But she was still singing along to somewhat on wireless, so I knew she hadn't heard me. I slowly pulled the door open and got that smell of mothballs and dresses and Mam's perfume and Dad's best boots all mixed up in me face. It was about full in there, with jackets and frocks and cardigans all hung from coat hangers, and down at bottom there'd be nowt but shoes, but then I noticed a brown blanket, all across bottom where shoes should be. I pulled a corner of it up and had a look. Like I thought, there was some shoes, but on top of 'em were lots of parcels, most of 'em done up with red Christmas paper. 1 or 2 were in brown paper, a couple in silver paper, and there was one just in newspaper. Bingo, I thought. Presents! I knelt down and picked one up. It was heavy, and when I shook it there was a clumping noise, like a pair of boots in a box. I looked for the label. "To Jimmy, with love," it said. So, Jimmy was getting some boots. Now then, where's my stuff? I picked up another box and gave it a rattle. It sounded like a jam jar full of gravel. Either that or whatever it was had bust. I put it back and picked up another. It was great trying to guess what was in 'em all. Some were real heavy and some were light, like they had nowt in. I was just reaching into the far corner for a big un when suddenly a hand grabbed me neck. "Ah, I've been caught!" "What are you doing in there, Der?" It was our Jimmy, whispering 'cause he knew just how stupid it was to get caught in here. "Nowt," I said. "Shut up! I'm just looking." My heart was thumping like hell now. "Let me see," he said, and he shoved his way in, standing right on a big flat box wrapped in silver paper. He still had his shoes on and the box gave way. "You great gawp," I said. "You're squashing stuff. Get out!" "What stuff, Der? What's in there?" "Presents, you daft beggar," I said. "Christmas presents." "Has he been already, then? Father Christmas, has he been? He's a bit blooming early, eh?" "No," I said, "it's stuff other people have brought. Mam and Dad must hide 'em all in here while Christmas Eve, and then... Or maybe Father Christmas hides 'em in here," he said, "to save him time on Christmas Eve. Maybe he drops 'em off a few days before when he's coming past on way to Malton." Oh, shut up, I said. I don't think it's him that hides 'em. I think people bring 'em to house, and then I heard somebody coming upstairs. Oh no! Quick, I said, get in and shut up! We both jammed into the back at wardrobe, and I pulled the door closed behind us. It was dark, and the smell of clothes and perfume and shoes and stuff was like a great big blanket smothering me. I don't like being in small places. I hate it. I can't breathe. Me mum says I'm claustrophobic, like she is, but I daren't scream. And now there was another smell and all. Hey, I said to Jimmy, have you stepped in some dog muck? He was holding on to me, belt, frightened to death, as if he'd fall down a big hole somewhere. Shh, I said, quiet. He moved his foot, and I could hear a squishing sound, like when the last of the fairy liquid comes out of the bottle. Whoever it was came into the bedroom, muttering something about fried eggs and no sausages. It was me dad. He sat on the bed and I heard it creak. Then I heard his shoes come off and dropped at floor. Thud, one. Thud, two. He'd be getting changed. Shirt off. Now his trousers. Then I could hear him scratching. He does this a lot after work. He says it's sawdust. Mum says it's 'cause he's like a monkey. Then he had a good stretch and we could hear him groan. Then he let off. Real loud. A real buck snorter. It was too much for our Jimmy, who bust out laughing. Shh, I said, quiet! But it was too late. I heard the squeaky floorboard go, then the wardrobe door flew open, and me dad pulled back the stuff on the hangers and stood there in his underpants looking down at us. What the hell are you doing in there, eh? We were playing hide and seek, I said. Oh, aye, says Dad. And who's doing the bloody seeking then, since you're both hiding? Oh, no, that was daft. I hadn't thought of that. Me brother had, though. Well, sort of. We weren't sure whose turn it was to hide, said Jimmy, so we both did. I thought we might get a belt, but me dad was standing there in just his socks and underpants, so maybe he wouldn't feel like it. Come on, get out of there, and get down them stairs sharpish before I box your lugs. We fell out the wardrobe and shot through the bedroom door. Not even a tap on the backside. I knew he was looking too daft to do out. He probably wanted to get dressed and all, 'cause it was freezing upstairs. Mind, if he told Mam where we'd been, we were as good as dead. And I hadn't forgotten about Jimmy's shoes and what they might have been wiping off on them presents. Funny thing was, nobody said out. On Christmas Eve, I didn't tell Jimmy what he was getting, or what it felt like he was getting. But when he started going on and on about wanting a cowboy outfit with white holsters and a hat and a silver badge, and them chaps they wear with fringes on, well, I felt like saying, aye, well, only cowboy outfit you're getting is a pair of hobnail boots from Yates's, so you'll have to mosey on down to corral in them buggers. On Christmas morning, we went downstairs with our pillowcases full of presents and sat on settee, ready to take turns opening them, like we always do. Mam had her tidy little pile near her chair, and Dad had his in front at telly. There was a rotten smell coming out of my pillowcase, and they kept looking at each other, and Mam tutted. Mam went first and opened her present from Aunt Judy. We all leaned over to have a good look, 'cause that's what we do in our family. Whenever anybody opens a present, we crowd round them and make a bit of fuss. It was me Mam's idea, I think. She's annoying, though, is me Mam, 'cause she takes ages to open out. She tries to undo the sellotape, and everybody knows you can't. And then she folds and unfolds the paper one bit at a time, trying to get it all off without tearing it. It's like watching one of them things on telly that goes backwards. You start off with a Christmas present and end up with a big sheet of wrapping paper, some folded ribbon, some bits of used sellotape, and whatever it was wrapped up in it. Present turned out to be a load of smelly stuff for in the bathroom, except that it got a bit mixed up, a bit squashed. Well, the bubble bath had leaked all over the bath salts, and the soap had broken in half. But it was all bonny colours. Mum looked a bit upset. Oh dear, love, said me Dad. Old Father Christmas must have had a bit of a squeeze on getting out chimney this year. Aye, happen, said Mam. And I wonder how he got on with that box of black magic you asked him for. Oh no. I hope bloomin' Jimmy hadn't stood on that and all. Dad was crackers over black magic chocolates and always got one of them big boxes every year. Me Dad opened a packet of hankies next, and they had his initials all sewn on. So he started testing them, real loud, until Mam slapped his leg and told him off. Our Jimmy went next and opened his big box. The boots. We all leaned over to see. They were black and shiny, with real big treads on bottom. "By go," said me dad. "Them will hold some cow muck, Jim," and Mum slapped him again. Jimmy started to thread the laces that came with them when I pulled out my big present, the one in silver paper. Paper was a bit torn, and I could see a cardboard box underneath with some coloured letters. "History," it said. Oh no, I thought, not a bloomin' history game. Me mum likes history, but I can't stand it. But when I got all the paper off, I could see that it said chemistry. It was a chemistry set, and it didn't half stink. The box was dented in, and the picture on the front of a young lass in a white jacket thing looked all blotchy. I took the lid off, and the smell of dog muck came up and just about throttled me. "Good grief," said me dad. "What's that Father Christmas brought you? Last week's fish guts?" "Ron," said me mum, though I could see she didn't like the smell either. And neither of them leaned over to have a closer look. "Oh, that's all right, dear," said our Jimmy, and he went back to lacing up his new boots. I looked in the box, and there was a lot of little test tubes, and some of them were bust, and a lot of little packets of stuff, white stuff, black stuff, green stuff, red stuff, orange stuff, all scattered about, some of them mixed together, and most of them making that bloody awful stink. Me dad leant over and picked one of the packets up. "Iron filings," he said. "Hey, I'll show you a trick." And he poured some out onto his hand, said "Alakazam," and threw them all on fire. There was a bit of a whoosh, and a lot of sparks went flying up chimney. "Hey, look you there," Dad said. "Me Uncle Gordon taught me how to do that in blacksmith's shop." "I wish he'd taught you to do something useful," said Mum, "like how to read." "Giz a go, Dare," said Jimmy. "Go on, giz a go." But I already had the rest of the packet poured out onto my hand, and I threw it at the fireplace. Whoosh! It went, and half the Christmas cards fell off the mantelpiece. "Bloody hell, steady on, lad," Dad said. And my mum started picking up the cards real quick and saying something about it being a stupid idea, just like she said it was in the shop. Then she stopped and looked at me. I meant the workshop, love, where Father Christmas makes all his toys." Usually, when me mum looks right at me like this, I look at me feet, or at the kitchen wall, or at something I've just picked out of me pocket, or me nose. But this time I looked right back at her, in the eyes. She was waiting for me to say something. I think she was waiting for me to say that I'd been into their bedroom and looked in the wardrobe and found all these presents, and that I knew Father Christmas hadn't really brought 'em. But he had, some of 'em, and Jimmy didn't need to know any more than that. I wanted to say sorry, but I couldn't. So I said nowt, then gave Mum me bar of fruit and nut I'd got from Chalky White's missus, same as she got Jimmy, and said it was her turn to go. So we started unwrapping again. We went round and round, opening stuff, until there was nowt left to open. And we sat there with our presents, a lot of 'em squashed or broken, and this bloody awful smell everywhere. Jimmy had his new boots on and was marching about. Dad was poking around in his black magic, eating 3 at a time, 'cause that's how they came out of the box. And Mum was reading a cookbook on pickling she got from Granny. "Why are half the presents all bashed up, Mum?" said Jimmy. "I don't know, love," she said. "Maybe Father Christmas has to be a bit more careful about where he keeps 'em in future." And she looked at me Dad, but he didn't say out, just offered her a coffee cream, a flat one. Next year, I thought, as well as sending him a letter up the chimney, I'm going to leave Father Christmas a note inside Mum and Dad's wardrobe saying, "Don't be leaving 'em here. Keep 'em safe while Christmas." Maybe Mum didn't know that he'd hidden them in the wardrobe. Maybe she thought he'd been clumsy coming down the chimney, or fallen on his sack. But I didn't want her to be thinking it was his fault. Or maybe she thought I'd stepped on them all, and squashed them. But I hadn't. I hadn't. Suddenly I was shouting out loud, "It wasn't me, Mum, I didn't stand on the presents, honest, it wasn't me. It was our Jimmy." Nobody said out. Then Jimmy kicked me real hard with his new boots. But Mum didn't say out. And Dad never even looked up from his box of chocolates. "You don't have to talk a lot of rubbish, our Derek," he said. "Here, have a marzipan. I think I'm going off black magic."